Welcome to Musing with Tanya D. I am your host, Tanya D., and thanks for joining me for this nature series of 2018. And we are in the season of the fall or the autumn and the element of metal. And since we're looking at the relationship of the metal element and the mind, I feel like it's appropriate to discuss the practice of meditation, or what I like to call Soliciting Solitude, which is my new online course. What it is, how to experience it, some of its benefits, such as the potential to calm and clarify the mind. And your mind has a plethora of dimensions with this ability to expand its attention, to focus, limit, contain, and even close off that attention. And your mind is your body's transmitter, and it's also your receiver. What is happening in your mind affects how you feel emotionally and physically. And ancient wisdom, it tells us, as above, so below. So what you are experiencing in your head influences your physical body and vice versa. And as your body state affects the working of your mind. So I have pointed to this relationship in both the breathing function of the lungs and the elimination function of the large intestine. So both breathing noxious gases and the state of constipation affect your mental capacities. And your mental state can be reflected in the freedom of your bowels and in the ease of your breathing. So it's like back and forth. But how you breathe determines how well you can center yourself and relax. Just becoming aware of your breathing can help you realize and then clear body tension. And in turn, it opens your mind to receive solutions to problems. Breathing is the basis of soliciting solitude. So there has been much written on the subject of meditation with a multitude of definitions. Practices that attempt to comprehend this can be itself boggling to our mind. But I'm going to share some of my own experiences of the process, and I hope it will inspire you to try to set aside the thinking mind for a while and experience a new openness to inner information. Scientists tell us that we use only a small percentage of our brain's actual potential. So every body must have a lot more to discover up there in that little cavity. And soliciting solitude is a way of perceiving, of seeing. In a sense, it puts you in a place that is almost separate from your mind, where you can follow your mind's workings. Your awareness sits back and becomes just an onlooker to your mind and your life. And many can describe this state in which nothing is going on, or that's the state they're describing. So we're going to discuss the brain in basics, how we describe the human computer, the mind. It's actually, it is the brain's ability to be its own computer, but it also has two primary functions, thinking and seeing, which relate to the left and the right brain hemispheres and their functions, respectively. But the character of the brain in this model, it's crucial to see how we experience life. Also to the practice of meditation and clearing the mind. And one model is the active, it's thinking, it's time-orientated, and it attempts to organize and manipulate our world, where the other is the receptive, the sensing, the timeless, and it perceives and understands our external and our internal environment without judgment. And in our technology-based, manipulative, and hyperactive culture, soliciting solitude has the effect of drawing energy from the thinking model into the receptive, perceptive one. And this might seem threatening since it sets aside our conditioning to be goal-orientated at all times and reverse our standard educational and work models. But by expanding your awareness to other areas of your brain, you allow a certain kind of knowledge to come to you, which could not be obtained through the usual active model. So through meditation, it moves you to a new balance, which is neither active or receptive, taking you to the center to experience both these realms or dimensions. And in Zen meditation, there is a sitting and being, allowing only the experience of the breath in the moment to be the focus. No other goals are sought after. For example, this would lead to a focus on time passing and actually create internal action. And both the seeking of pleasure and the avoidance of pain are suspended for the moment. And all attention is given to watching the breath ebb and flow. And meditation's been practiced over the centuries to enhance sensory awareness, along with the ability to alter perception of the environment and of oneself. And it's important to staying healthy as it facilitates a greater communication between our inner and our outer worlds. And in this, it allows a deep state of rest and rejuvenation. And psychologically, meditation lowers the respiratory rate. It increases the frequency of the alpha brainwaves, along with facilitating muscular relaxation. Where the effects of transcendental meditation, in particular, have been studied extensively. And this testing shows that meditators experience an increased sense of intelligence by psychological testing and learning ability, recall testing, or better performance, which is an increased grade point average in school, faster reaction time, increased productivity, even improved job performance and satisfaction with what you do for work, as well as better relationships at work or intimate ones. And who doesn't want that anymore? It's hard enough as it is. So physically, traditional or transcendental meditation helps the reduction of stress, possibly by lowering blood levels. It helps reduce insomnia, slows the heart rate, and normalizes blood pressure. It also helps regular meditators achieve a sense of greater adaptability and stability. Creativity, shown by the Torrance Creativity Test and Personality Development Test, or Orientation Index, they seem to be enhanced as well. So basically, meditation places you, being your body and your brain, into a resting state, or alpha, where you can receive all kinds of information and perspectives on all kinds of things. And soliciting solitude is not a goal, but a process, a kind of awareness. And it's not alien to you, but sometimes it's inherent in your very nature. And it's not something you have to try to do, but rather a process you allow to happen. With a few preconceptions as possible, it's not someplace to go. It's a state of being. So you merely give yourself the time for the experience. And I find that the early morning is the best time, bringing clarity and energy to the beginning of my day. And you can do it later on as well, but avoid meditating on a full stomach. It's better to wait for 3 hours after eating, before dinner, or before sleep. Might be a good time for you. But I prefer to sit on the floor, a pillow, or even a chair. But lying down, this position tends to put the body in a state for rest or sleep. So as busy as we all are, we can usually set aside 15 to even maybe 30 minutes a day, or even twice a day, for a quiet, conscious relaxation to clear our minds of old and congested thoughts. You might see that many things you think you need to do are really unnecessary, and those you really need to accomplish often just take care of themselves. You might learn how to guide your energies rather than being controlled by your impulses. And it's sad that we have been conditioned to live in a world outside of ourselves and create vast estates there while living in barren wastelands within ourselves. This will never create happiness, in my opinion. So soliciting solitude takes two primary paths. One is the focusing and contemplative process in which you breathe, relax, and focus literally just on your breath, a sound, a word, even a mantra, a picture, a candle, or even an inner image. And the other is the free floating form where you sit and breathe and just watch what goes on without trying to manipulate it at all. Often, exercise can facilitate this state. Yoga, Tai Chi, those are a few examples. But anymore, runners and devoted athletes are describing deep and profound experiences during and after exercise. And I do as well. But breathing, or the breath, is actually what lays the groundwork for this kind of form. To sit, to relax, to close your eyes, and just breathe. You can formalize this by breathing in for 7 counts, or some even use 7 heartbeats, holding 7 counts, and then breathing out for 7 counts. You might even start with shorter holds, but as you relax, the breathing pattern will become easier. Breathe gently in through your nose and let it flow out through your mouth. Some practices have you breathe in and out through the nose. But you need to do this for a few minutes, and eventually you'll get used to this regular breathing pattern. And then you can just sit back and observe and go ahead and watch your mind. So you need to consider thoughts as clouds floating by in an open blue sky. And don't get into them, just watch. If you get carried away, come back to your breath and focus and just start counting. Another exercise that is really useful throughout the day is to sit down and to just be with your awareness of the present moment. Like, what is happening right now? There's no past, there's no future. It's all happening right now in the present. And this is a good one to take out in the world. You might become more aware of when you are worried, upset, or caught in thoughts of what you could or should have done, what someone else did to you, or when you're feeling insecure, projecting your needs in the future, ideas and plans. And this kind of awareness is an important step toward finding peace and joy in the world in the moment of the now. And you'll eventually be able to incorporate this continual meditation in motion into all aspects of your life. How and what you think affects everything around you and what you experience of the world. The pollution on the planet Earth reaches to the air, the water, the soil, and even our food. But beyond this, there is mind pollution, that mind, mental chatter, and the clutter that goes on in the mind. And if you buy into the media's pictures of destruction and war, politics, for example, this becomes the limit of your inner experience. That war, starvation, the destruction are inevitable is not true. They are based on the imbalance of the active manipulating model involving power, greed, fear, and a mental model of the world in where the individual human life is seen as less important than the ideal of an individual or country's lifestyle, or even the belief system. And I believe that what we each think about definitely affects the collective consciousness. So rather than feeling helpless with personal or world difficulties, you might sense that your thoughts have the power to change the world. Maharishi, a yogi, was actually the first Western teacher of transcendental meditation. And he has said that if we ever get 1 to 2% of the world population meditating, we will have world peace. Now, that is a powerful energy, I would say, wouldn't you? So meditation is a natural process that alters your state of awareness by changing the focus from the active to the receptive model. And the more common way that people try to achieve this is in our impatient society is through the use of drugs, substances, both naturally occurring and laboratory synthesized, are used daily to alter physical and mental energy along with the psyche. Drug-free meditation is, of course, preferable. And healing is hard work, and it requires focus over a period of time. And there's no quick fix. Emotional issues and our personal relationships also contribute to our specific and general well-being. And soliciting solitude is an empowering experience. So instead of a narrow path of the outer mind journey with all the endless circles and cul-de-sacs that we find on this journey to the everywhere of the universe, to the nowhere of the infinite point, at the center of the individual consciousness, as it joins the everywhere and the nowhere, demonstrating they both are one. Now that's a mouthful, isn't it? This podcast is already getting a little long. Thanks for musing with me. Thanks for joining me. If you're interested in more about soliciting solitude, I'll put the link with this podcast. And also, I do a whole course in my Balance of Being. One of the modules is all based on soliciting solitude. So I have a plethora of information there as well. But with that said, thanks for joining me. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for musing. Please like and share my podcast. Let me know how I'm doing. And my next podcast, I actually am going to go on a drug tangent. So just preparing you for that little one. Both regular herbal types of drugs and our synthetic world that's full of drugs. But anyway, thanks for musing with me. Thanks for joining me, and have a beautiful day.